Hey, what's up? Hope everyone is doing good today. The topic of today's video is how to argue. When I say how to argue, I mean in a philosophical sense. The sense of exchanging ideas, having a back and forth about these ideas to see if something holds up, if it's true, all those sorts of things. What I don't mean is the arguments on where, couples do, where they're yelling back and forth. Ain't nobody got time for that. If that's the kind of arguing you want, please avoid the discourse altogether. However, if you are interested in real philosophical conversations, there are certain things that we, no matter what side of the debate you fall on, should put into practice. One of the things you definitely should do is to steel man the other side. By that, it means to represent what the other side is saying as best as possible. Don't make undue assumptions or assertions about their positions. If you are not clear on something, ask them. If they're not in person or teleconference kind of thing to ask, email them, text them, message them. Ask these clarifying questions for one way or another. And if for some reason you cannot do that, read the published work, be it books or publications inside respected journals, to see what people who posit the same thing is saying. The reason we want to do this is so that we do not misrepresent each other, so that we can have a full, robust grasp of what is actually being said by the person on the other side of the debate. And it's just good practice. I don't want to be straw man, neither do you. What straw manning is purposely or impurposely misrepresenting someone else's point. When an example of this is, I posit Y. So then the person would look at me and say, what you're saying is X. And that's just bad form. You get nowhere in the conversation by doing that. And most of the time, you're going to anger the other person to the point where they just don't want to continue on the conversation. So it is best to avoid straw man, while it is also best to build the steel men. You want to represent the argument as well as you can. Sometimes I struggle with this myself, but this is one of the reasons my book is taking so long to finish, because I go back and I reread everything and I make sure I'm not purposefully misrepresenting anything. And then I go back and reread it to make sure I'm not mistakenly misrepresenting something. I do not want to be caught up in that whole thing of not fully grasping what the argument or the presentation or the idea, notion, whatever it is. I hope that makes sense to y'all, and I know that got a little rambly. I apologize. So, the next thing we want to do in any kind of philosophical debate is define your terms. Make sure that the usage of whatever term or word you're using is clear, so that it's not misrepresented at all. If I say God, I need to make sure that the person I'm addressing knows what I mean by God. Such as, am I talking about a deistic God like Spinoza? Or am I talking about the God of classical theism, the triomni God, the God of the Abrahamic religions? It is important to do this so that everybody is on the same page. Because if I am talking about the classical theism notion of God, and you're talking about the deistic God of Spinoza, then we are not talking about the same thing. Thus, the arguments are pointless. And if it's pointless, why are we wasting time? We don't want to do that. So you need to define terms and define them from the outset. It is incredibly important to do that, again, because you do not want to waste either yours or their time on things that you may not be talking about the same thing. And one of the biggest things that we want to avoid in these conversations is attacking the person. If I say something wrong, then I'm simply wrong. Show me where I'm wrong. Address why I'm wrong, along with showing me where I'm wrong. Do not attack me as a person. If I say something stupid, then I said something stupid. That does not inherently mean that me as a person is stupid. It does. If you say something moronic, it does not mean you're moronic. I got a lot of backlash, so to speak, from my video titled Young Earth Creationism is Moronic. I still stand by that stance. However, when I say Young Earth Creationism is moronic, I am positing that the view held is moronic, not that the person that holds the view is moronic. There is a difference, and it's because you do not have to be intellectually astute to hold an intellectually astute position. You do not have to be an idiot to hold an idiotic position. We all, at one point or another, on many different things, have held wrong, bad, idiotic positions. It's just the way life for thinking beings works. So, if you're gonna, and my wording was poor, I'll admit that, and I shouldn't say things outright like this view is idiotic. That's just the kind of person I am, though. But even if you are going to do that, you want to make sure you're saying it about the argument or the position, not the person. Because I tell you what, no matter how silly I think a theistic argument is, I will tell you right now, I have met many, many, many theists far more intelligent than I. I have met many theists far more intelligent than most of the atheists I know personally. So it is important to make that distinction. If a view is wrong, it is wrong. Point it out. Show them where the error is. Do not just simply attack them. I hope that makes sense as well, because it is my firm belief that despite what views one or one may not hold, you cannot tell a person's level of intellect or how smart they are in the general sense simply by one or two positions they may hold. So, those are my 3 keys for debating properly. Make sure that you're steel manning positions. Make sure you're asking for clarifications. Make sure you're not misrepresenting your opponent. And make sure you are not insulting your opponent. Nobody likes to be insulted. If you don't want to be insulted, don't insult the other person. These things will help go a long way. No matter whether you get someone to agree with you about anything or not, the point is that they will still go a long way in considering and having the person consider what you are saying. There's a very low chance that any argument for God, against God, whatever, will convince the person you're talking to outright. What it may do, though, is lead them to questioning what they've already thought. It may lead them to wanting to look more into what you have said. And those are the things that can lead to a conversion or deconversion. That's why it's so important to, respect your opponent, not necessarily respect the ideas, but to respect your opponent, to clarify everything, to listen well, and to take as many preemptive steps as you can to make the conversation and debate meaningful. I know I ramble on and my thoughts are mixed up sometimes. It just happens that way. I'm sorry. My head gets jumbled because I'm thinking about way too many things at once, especially on my long drive to work. So forgive me for that. I hope y'all are all continuing to do well. Have a good day.